Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here with a live stream on our Zero Z model output tonight as we watch it come in real time like we did in last night's live stream. But tonight's stream is going to be a little bit more, it's going to be a little different because I did want to show you some of the ensemble forecasts as we did see some changes. Of course, after my latest video this afternoon, which is quite disappointing when changes like this happen. So, wanted to clear up some stuff for you all. So, first of all, what we are really most concerned about, as you know, is an area of interest that has moved off the coast of Africa near Ghana here. This is to the southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands. You can even see a little bit of a circulation right in here where we have a westerly flow. So let's kind of bring this up. So we have westerly flow here. The wind comes around like this. Very, excuse me, very sharp, tight circulation here, actually, as noted from an earlier ASCAP pass, which matches really well with our GFS model. So it's going to be interesting on how this all evolves. We have a lot of thunderstorm convection also happening to the northwestern side of the system. And that's what we are really paying close attention to as we are watching this live. Now, I'm sure there are people in the comment section, I've seen this on X, that that we could see a tropical storm in a couple of days. I don't think that's going to happen, but if this is tightening up as what the GFS model has been showing over the last few model runs, it wouldn't be surprising to see that. And the thing with that is that's actually a good thing, not in a bad way, but in a good way, because if this does strengthen rather quickly out there in the MDR, this could actually gain latitude sooner than, say, if it's a weaker system, it will actually end up gaining latitude a lot slower. And that really is going to matter a whole lot here. So in a rare sense, it's actually good if this strengthens sooner rather than later, so it gains latitude and misses any land areas, versus the bad news is if it actually doesn't strengthen and organize very quickly, this could go much further west. So that is what we're going to wait and see what our Zero-Z models are showing. We have only the icon in as of this live stream. We're going to wait for the Canadian model, then the GFS model, then the Euro, then the European artificial intelligence model. And I wanted to kind of scroll back in time and look at our 12Z ensemble forecast on how tricky of a situation this is. So this is what the analysis, if we go back right here, this is that wind speed max right in here. This is the vorticity max that is working its way up the coast. Almost kind of like this being California, you get a little bit of a southerly surge working its way up, but this is much further south than California. This is actually located around 11 degrees north in latitude. And then, of course, you have your northeasterly flow here. But the reason why that some of the models do indicate that this could bundle up a little faster is because this little wind max that the other models are picking up on. We look at the GFS model from earlier. Let's actually bring that up. Actually, let's just do it this way since we have this sector. Go to the GFS, go to our 12Z run. Actually, yeah, 18Z. Look how much tighter this actually is right here. We got a very strong wind max happening on the eastern side. And if that's actually what's happening underneath here, it's very hard to tell because some of this is mid-level cloud cover. So we really don't know exactly what's happening right under the hood. But based on a ASCAP pass, we did see a very tight circulation somewhere in this vicinity, which is going to matter a whole lot on if this further consolidates and moves this way, because it's not rolling off of Africa and doing this. Instead, this is actually going to pinwheel, and it's going to go pretty far north here, up to about almost 20 degrees north in latitude. and about 20 degrees north in latitude, you're pretty much north of the Lesser Antilles by that point. So if we go forward here, you can see how this really tries to bundle, and look at how far north this actually gets. So in this case, if this is indeed a tightly bundling system that we are not seeing very well through the cloud cover, this ends up being a little further north. And that's what makes all the difference. If we look at our 0Z run from last night, we had the circulation somewhere down here. That huge difference is going to matter as this goes further to the west, because then it might, if it's further south and it doesn't feel the any steering or any breaking the ridge later on in the period. So this is the latest analysis, and we can see there it is. There's the wind max that we have versus our icon model. If we go back to our icon, that's what we have. Okay, so we're going to wait for the 0Z models to come in, but we only have the icon. That's almost done rendering. And if we play this all the way through and go to the central Atlantic here, this is our circulation. And you could already tell that this is moving pretty much due northwest. So this is not going to impact the islands as what I can see right now. We will see what the GFS, the 0Z, this is going to be a critical part of this. Do these model, or does this continue to trend north each model run? Because if it does, not only does it miss these islands, it misses everyone entirely, including along the mid-Atlantic coast. So that's going to be the thing to consider. And I've gotten some people saying you're underhyping this, you're underhyping this. I think we will see a tropical storm or hurricane, but the difference is that hurricane making landfall somewhere along the East Coast versus it not bothering anyone. So I think we will see a named storm, but it's going to be like Dexter, where it just doesn't do anything. It's not going to impact anyone. So if we look at prior model runs, you can see there is our 18Z icon. You can see this is our 12Z icon. So over the last few runs right here, even going back to, let's do 12Z. 12Z is down here, by the way. So we have had a trend northward today, and it still seems to be the case, just a little bit here. And that, again, will matter a whole lot on our other models once those get done rendering. But we are waiting for the icon to fully finish its forecast. And let's see. There we go. So if we go forward, this has winds of about 25 miles an hour. So this would be barely a tropical depression, if anything, versus prior runs from earlier. So this is a little stronger, but also a little further to the north, because a strengthening system tends to gain latitude. All right, so we're going to wait for other models to come in. We're going to skip through this and just go and jump over to the NHC. Then we'll circle back into our current model runs, because I wanted to show you the NHC here, because things have changed since I was last on YouTube. We have a 10% area. This is actually not resized very well. So let me fix that so you all can see that perfectly. There we go. So big area here out in the Atlantic, but notice that it's aimed more this way. So this is likely to gain latitude fairly quickly at this given time. And right now, most of the ensemble model guidance has this turning out towards the Bermuda area and possibly skimming the coast of the mid-Atlantic. So even so, we do see a tropical storm or hurricane here. The difference is it being offshore versus it impacting Florida or maybe the mid-Atlantic. There will be a lot of room for changes here, I'm sure. We could still see trends down to the south or trends to the north. But right now, this is not looking as big right now initially until we get more model runs in. Seeing the trends in the last few runs going north, really have been relieving as far as anyone getting hurt potentially down the line. All right, so there's other models out there, and of course, the Google AI model, artificial intelligence, you name it. And so let's actually back this out. Actually, no, let's just play it right here because I could actually box in things and actually run through these models. Actually, this is perfect right here. Let me go to full screen so you can get the entire layout. And you look at all my tabs that I have open for tonight. Yeah, got a lot to talk about. So this is our system right here, and really it's going to depend how far north this actually ends up being. Excuse me, we still have a difference here versus over here, and pretty much even on this AI model, most of the members do miss the islands. However, they do get close with winds nearing tropical storm force, but the stronger runs are over here, mainly off the coast of Florida as they round that ridge. But you can see that this still has an opportunity of going out to sea. And I did talk to a couple of my friends tonight about that, and they don't agree with me. Says, dude, this is going further west. This is going to go much further west than what you think. And I'm like, I don't know. I think this has a chance of going to the north, and that is because of where our initial conditions go. Because the thing is going to be down here. I understand it's pretty far south, but then it's going to go something like this. And how far north this actually gets initially before it turns actually directly west is going to be very important. If this does something like this and then eventually gains latitude, it's going to be much closer to the islands, versus if a system does this, it's going to be much further out to sea and will miss these islands entirely, although getting some surf would be the only thing. Now, of course, you got your next generation. Weather next generation model. And look at, most of these are out to sea. Most of these are out to sea, although some pretty strong members here indicating, let's see if we could highlight a couple. Can we highlight a couple? Here we go. So actually we can play it through here. This is the one. So right here, maximum sustained winds on this model is category 4. So if we look on our right panel, you can see different intensities. These range from category 1 to category 4. So mainly it looks to be like we're going to have a hurricane on this one. We go to our experimental model, also showing a hurricane. So a hurricane with this system seems a little bit more likely. We'll wait from the Euro, but if we look at the previous ensemble model group here from its forecast, let's roll this through. This goes only out to 10 days, and it's showing, let's see, tropical storm all the way up to category 3 intensity. You can see it right there. So there is a lot of wiggle room of both intensity and exactly track, but the trends over the last few model runs have been generally northward. In fact, the Euro in itself has actually trended northward entirely over the last 4 ensemble model run cycles. I'm not saying that's going to continue to be the thing. I don't want to think that this under hyping this, it's not going to be a big concern, but based on what we've had today on our ensemble forecast, things have went for the positive side, a side of maybe some relief that, okay, this is not going to get as close to any land areas. So that's the AI model. You can see what they all do with it. I mean, we got some really wild, crazy runs over here and all the way up over here. So there is definitely this area of potential track, maybe Bermuda, maybe skimming the coast of the United States. But chances of that have decreased just a hair in today's update. So that leads me to this. Now, this is the European ensemble forecast, and we're going to take a look at the state of the atmosphere. Why is this, again, going to go north? what we first thought, or why maybe it go further south. And so there's a lot of complication factors here as far as that steering ridge that everybody's been talking about, that whole PNA part going negative. That really plays a role in all of this because our NAO is going to likely be neutral with more zonal flow running on top of the northern Atlantic. So that really doesn't play a role. But what will is any ridge up over here across the eastern seaboard, and maybe another ridge over here to help connect and keep things solid so this thing does end up further west. So that's what we're going to look at here. And so you're looking at the European ensemble prediction system, similar to our what we just looked at with those speckled lead dots, but this is a cloud of possible outcomes. Oranger colors indicate higher density here. Areas in green and blue indicate lower density. So putting this into motion, we can see there is definitely a group of ensemble members. And actually, let's do this. So you can see a cloud of possible outcomes right now, right over here. So in theory, this could end up being further south. And in theory, this could end up being much further to the north. That huge range of possibility means the difference between maybe the far northeastern portion of the Caribbean getting smacked versus no one getting hurt or impacted by anything at all. Although some surf would animate away from the system as it moves just to the north of the islands, would bring a lot of rip currents. But that's nothing compared to like getting hurricane force winds, flooding, landslides, those kind of impacts that a tropical system brings or a hurricane. Let's go and zoom out here. And so there's a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about, oh my gosh, Florida is going to get hit here. It looks like Florida is going to get hit. There is, again, a lot of discontinuity here with the ensemble forecast, with some possible scenarios still in the far eastern Gulf versus most of the scenarios staying offshore off the eastern seaboard. Again, I want to be clear here. We are looking at a hurricane. I strongly believe we will see some sort of a tropical storm or hurricane here, but where is that tropical storm or hurricane is a question I cannot answer because it really depends on the steering flow. This is why we use ensemble forecasts and a cloud of possible outcomes here as well. So oranger areas mean strong intensities, very closely clustered, versus bluer areas not seeing anything, of course. So there is a fair bit of cluster of very intense outcomes here off the coast or missing most of these islands of the Bahamas and even Florida and even the mid-Atlantic. And the reason why that is, actually, let's look at the GEFS as well. So the GEFS 18Z run has something very similar. Let's play that through. Although, let's see. Although it actually is further south here. Interesting, the deterministic forecast has went north, and that's going to be the realm of possible outcomes. But there is definitely some very intense outcomes here over the Bahamas, also off the coast here, near strike here. So Bermuda certainly needs to be watching this. I mean, it's not like this is all going to miss Bermuda completely. It's not a for sure save and grace here that, oh, Bermuda's not going to get hit. And instead, this would turn into here, or it would kind of go into this direction. And so therefore, Bermuda needs to be on the watch just in case if this gains latitude very quickly with either the eastern, southern side of the system impacting that island, or maybe a direct strike, which is very rare in itself on Bermuda because Bermuda is a very small island compared to Hawaii and other islands down here even. So now, why is there so much difficulty in forecasting this? So this is a look at the 500 millibar chart. And what we have and what we're going to put here is our 500 millibar steering. Let's put that. So vorticity. So what we have, of course, in the next 66 hours is a ridge right here. This has been the constant thing on most of the models, well modeled at this point, that this mid-level ridge is going to be the primary reason why this thing is not going to do this. It's going to work its way up the coast, like many historic systems would do if they moved off of Africa. And instead, this is going to make a hard bend to the west for a little bit, but it's probably not going to stay that way for very long, because if, as we put this into motion, we do have this ridge that retrogrades right until about here or so. So until about Thursday night, where we have this subtropical high that tries to nose in, but it's only going to get so far to the west, because as you know, if we do have a little bit of a trough here, as you can see on the ensemble forecast, sometimes what ends up happening is if one air mass tries to amplify, another one also tries to amplify. So sometimes you can get anticyclonic wave breaking here briefly. And so sometimes these troughs can actually end up a little further to the south. So something, say, like down here would help to yank this storm northward before hitting the United States. Versus if we get that negative PNA pattern where we have a much stronger ridge here nosing in across the southeastern United States, with this coupling ridge over here across the mid-Atlantic, then there's very little in the way of this turning northward. It will turn northward sooner or later, but where that northward turn happens, I mean, this could make the difference is if this turns northward here, or if this scoots on by and turns north here, or if it tries to go even further to the west with some of the model solutions going into even New Orleans, Louisiana, excuse me there. So there is a decent amount of uncertainty here as far as what our models are going to do. And that's why we really are watching the launching point of this, because if this does indeed strengthen or consolidates further south or further north, because further north, the wave envelope tends to consolidate, and that really gives us a sign that if the northern wave consolidates, which we see, it would likely miss these islands based on the launching point. Now, if this launches again further south, as some of the ensembles are showing, then maybe a strike on some of these islands is not out of the question. But as far as I can see, that doesn't seem to be the case today. There have been trends to the north, but just because we see trends to the north today, we can see those turn south tomorrow as well, or even in our next group of runs starting at 0Z tonight. Okay, so that's that. But now, here it is. So this is where your break actually happens. So in about 10 days, let me actually plop the other map. Hold on, right here. There we go. So there is your negative PNA, trough in the west, ridge in the east. Very classic, almost reminds me of semi-fall. If you get that pattern, it's one's cooler, one's warmer. But this is a very dangerous pattern because if this ridge tries to nudge in, this can get underneath and then kind of get yanked underneath and squashed. And that's why we've seen some crazy solutions into the Gulf. Doesn't look likely, but it is in the realm of possibility. But it really will depend on this right here. Because as you know, if we go back in time, there has been a tendency for a break to happen in the subtropical ridge. Okay, come on, work with me. There's been a tendency for a break in the ridge somewhere over here due to 96L. We had Dexter that went through this pattern. So this hasn't had time to rebuild. And we have a cutoff low right here as well. So this is just very murky out here, very minute. It is just very complicated. We don't have a very solid, well-established subtropical ridge nosing out of Africa, and that combining with some ridging over here in the southeast. So there is going to be a break here, but when that break happens in tandem where our system is, if our system moves fast enough and gets here a little sooner before that break happens, then it goes underneath that and impacts. It may get into Florida or even the south or the northeastern portion of the Gulf. Sorry, I'm just going in. I'm just going into a lot of detail here for you guys. So the GEFS ensemble, let's play that through here. So this has a little bit of a weaker ridge over here over the United States, but also the launching point is also a little further north. So that takes into account. But like this is fairly weak out here. This is not a very stronger than normal ridge, helping to direct traffic sternly, not weakly, but sternly to the west. I mean, if we had a nice good ridge out here, then we would be certainly talking about the Caribbean, maybe even in the Gulf or the Northwestern Caribbean. But instead, we have a weakness out here on the GFS versus our euro. And in fact, there is such a disparity here that if we actually do that, the euro has a stronger ridge overall. This is a much weaker ridge, just by a little bit, and that little bit makes all the difference. All right, so as far as intensity goes, we know for a fact by this point in time, some slow organization would probably occur throughout this portion of the Atlantic with marginal warm sea surface temperatures. In fact, the sea surface temperatures could actually cool a little bit out here. So right now where our wave is, they're pretty warm. But once this kind of gets into this pocket, water temperatures do end up cooling down. It's really this area that I'm really concerned about, right back in here, where we have very warm sea surface temperatures on the order of about, say, 86 to about 89 degrees in Fahrenheit. Some pockets here close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's a lot of energy. And so in a thermodynamic standpoint, this right over here is very, very volatile for explosive intensification. And in fact, looking back at some analogs and some climax hypothetical outputs do suggest that this area can support a very intense, violent Category 5 hurricane with winds greater than about 180 to 190 miles per hour. I know, I hate to say it, but that's the ceiling on this wave because the anticyclonic upper level pattern over this system could really, really bring big time trouble along the eastern seaboard if where this turn actually occurs. If it happens earlier, it impacts Bermuda, which is here. But if it happens later instead of earlier, then maybe the eastern seaboard will need to watch. It's kind of a very fragile situation right now, and that's why I'm doing these live streams, especially tonight, because I don't think I will be able to do one tomorrow night because I have church the next day. So I decided to do one tonight. Sea surface temperature anomalies out here in the Atlantic are very, very warm, so that is not a problem for our system. In fact, they are near record warm out here in the far western Atlantic over the Bahamas. This again, I hate to say this, but this is really bad. Very dangerous pattern here setting up. If we get this ridge in the way where this system cannot turn north, but only not help to but impact, say, the southeastern United States, we could be looking at a catastrophic landfall if the pattern sets up in a really bad configuration. But the good news is we are more than 10 days away from that occurring, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. What I am going to be watching again, our models are currently rendering, as you all know. We have our icon model. Let's see with what that shows. Actually, I'll just stick to this sector. So if we look at this, tropical storm winds by Saturday morning, 180 hours out. So this is fully rendered. We can't go any further out than that. We go to our 12Z because, again, intermediate runs go only out to 5 days. So we will look at our 12Z model. And let me actually circle this area because this is where, actually, let's put a big old fat black spot on it. And let's look at our 12Z output. And it was further south, but a lot weaker at the same time. So there has been a northerly trend on this forecast model from the icon. So it is still happening right now where we are seeing a trend to the north with this, but that doesn't mean that, okay, say the Windward or Leeward Islands are safe. No, we are going to have to wait to see what our Canadian model shows, what our GFS model shows, what our artificial, the AIFS, and the actual Euro shows instead. In fact, a little fun fact here, the Canadian model is actually not showing any development at all. How about that? A very big outlier model. So we are going to see if that icon or that Canadian model actually latches on. If it doesn't, then I'm going to scratch my head and figure out why is it not finding it. So you can see here, the initial conditions do not show much of a low here at all versus the icon model. So that is why we can't jump to conclusions just yet until we get our other models in, especially the Euro and the GFS. There are both top models to look at conditionally and currently on what it's going to show. Because again, what I give to you, you get, right? So where this is at its analysis time is going to be very important. So that's why we are live streaming it tonight on our 0Z model guidance. Yes, we are going to be here for a while until about 11 or so, maybe even up until, about 11 o'clock tonight, Pacific Daylight Time. So we have another couple of hours here. And we are just going to be watching these models come in as I see them. You will see them as I see them. And the GFS right now is currently rendering. So we are getting both models in right now. So let's see with what this actually shows initially. So it is weaker. So the circulation is weaker. It is not further south. So let's see what happens here. This is further back. Man, why is the GFS doing this? So it really likes that area. It's like, I see it. I see it as I see it as hard as I can. It just likes that little area of spin. I do not know why it keeps on showing that. I really don't. I am a little surprised by that, though. But this is already... Okay, this is further to the south by a little bit on its launching point. Yeah, this is a little to the south now. So let's watch this. So again, I am going to really watch where this is going to go. Okay. So we're going to watch this in real time as our models come in. So let's look at our 18Z run. Yeah. So it is further south on the 0Z output. Okay. So 0Z output is further south on this, but also weaker. Let's see. It is even further south than our 12Z model runs, and it's a little stronger. This is going to be an interesting model run right here. So this is 12Z. This is 18Z right in here. So it didn't go much further north in its 18Z counterpart, but now it's actually further back over here and a little slower. So we have had a little slowdown with our ejection here of our system by Tuesday morning. So this is 83 hours out. And that, I mean, I do not believe this is a tropical storm. I just don't know why the European or GFS is seeing that little spigot right there. I mean, why does the GFS have to be this combative? Like literally, why? Why? Please ask me why. It just got hooked onto something. I'm like, and it's like, oh, we're just gonna keep it there. I see it. I see the circulation. So that's going to really impact this, okay? The launching point. So it is further south. It's going to be interesting. Does this southerly trend continue now, or does it wiggle woggle? But I'll tell you right here, this is so stinking small. I'm even a little surprised that the GFS even shows that in the first place. Now it comes down to the ridge. Let's take a look at our ridge now. Yeah, right up in here. Is this stronger now? Let's take a look. Yep, it is actually stronger. Yeah, it is actually stronger. Yeah, this whole ridge out here is a little stronger. So that's going to be interesting. So a stronger ridge on the initial conditions, it appears. Yeah, see, the ridge is a little stronger here, just a little stronger, and that makes all the difference. So, man, this is making a hard, actually, this is headed just slightly south of due west instead of the other way around. So, yeah, see, this is very fluid, and that is a very strong system, very powerful. I don't understand how it even exists there. I really do not even understand how such a small system that the GFS has been really consistent about. I really thought the GFS wasn't really a high resolution model comparatively to the European, and it has a hard time seeing things. This is actually pretty dang amazing. If you ask me, man, like, wow. Wow, I'll tell you right now. So this is very important. Very, very important. Because now, if we connect the dots, which this is what I do for a living, right? I am going to actually analyze things and see where things are actually going to go. So we connect the dots here. That hasn't moved north at all. Yeah, look at this. This has not moved north a single bit. Exactly on a westward heading, which if this gains latitude a little bit, something like this, that will bring it very close to these islands, very close to these islands, much further south than where it was up here. So that would be a very big difference, very big difference. And that is why we are live tonight, the second day in a row. What's up, Char Florida? So again, for those that are new, if you haven't been here before, make sure you slap that like button and also subscribe to the channel. You are watching this in real time. Okay, on different websites, it's going to probably be more delayed, but you're watching this render in real time here on the channel, which is really cool. And I'm going to be very nice enough to give you all the next couple of models once those start coming in. And I'm very curious about that AIFS model. And say it with me, folks, AIFS. That's how I terminologize the artificial intelligence model. Yeah, it's been my nickname for it for a while. AIFS, the European AIFS model. Which, speaking of the AIFS model, I wanted to actually show you all what that model spitted out earlier today. Again, it's like playing baseball. So on our scoreboard, we had a really big game with the artificial intelligence model showing us a major hurricane. Now, I want to be clear here. There have been some people in the comment section saying that it's not going to hit that area. I don't believe it's going to hit this part of the Gulf at all. It's not going to hit Louisiana, but we have models for a reason. And maybe the AI model is on to something. Maybe it is it's predicting this the whole time, that maybe Eastern Gulf is at play here. And that's why we don't have just one single global computer model. We have 5 global computer models at our disposal. Okay, we have the Icon model, which renders first. Up next for grabs would be the Canadian NGFS, and then the artificial intelligence, and then the European model. Best for last. That's the players. That's basically how I think of it. Players on the field, or our player names, that is. So let's go back and zoom in on this. Let's see here. Is this moving? All right, that's not good. That is not good at all. This is definitely making a little bit of a west-southwest jog. Look at this. Yeah, this is actually ripping around here. Look at this. So we're going to connect the dots again. I know this is very hard to tell, but we're going to connect these black dots again. Oops. This is how I can actually, what they call forward casting. Say it with me, folks. Forward casting. So I can actually make short-term motion predictions. Actually. Okay, I thought it made a little beeline, like it was going to get yanked a little bit this way. But either way, this is not gaining latitude at all. And that would bring it right into these islands. I don't think it's going to do that. I think it's going to gain latitude, but it is going to be very, very close to the northeastern Caribbean. And that is what we are really waiting eversly so patiently in this live stream. See, you know what? That is getting yanked a little bit. All right, so let me connect the dots again. I know this is annoying, but you have to kind of plot things as it comes out here. You have to forward cast. This is what meteorologists will actually do sometimes. And they will analyze the model run. And so we have dots like this. And then, yeah, see this? This actually made a faint bend. You can barely tell, a faint bend to the west. I don't want to wish for that, but that's the thing that we're looking at here right now in real time. And that is a hurricane, 74 miles an hour. Like, my head's about to explode. Literally, it's about to explode. And it's like, why is the GFS being, I don't want to say some inappropriate words here, but like, seriously. Like, GFS over here is probably having a little mental breakdown over the last few model runs. It's like, I see it. It's going to be a hurricane. But I'm not going to trust the GFS until we see our other pair of models that come in. The GFS is a huge outlier as far as intensity right now. Like, there's a very slim chance this actually is going to be a hurricane. For one thing, it is very downright small. That is a microscopic hurricane. So that's a first symptom that the GFS is hyping things up early on in its forecast. Now, let's believe things after it gets past 50 west. That's where I think things could go down the rabbit hole depending on where this ends up. Let's just put it this way. If this clips these islands, it's going to tend to stay more lower in latitude and probably fly underneath Miami, Florida. Like the 12Z counterpart was showing this morning. It flew right under Miami, Florida, through the Florida Strait, out into the Gulf. Not going to say that's going to happen this time, but it is intriguing to see a southerly shift here by a pretty dang big margin. And actually, the 12Z doesn't beat that out at all. Like, this is our 0Z plot that we have still to the north on that 12Z this morning. And even The 06Z didn't show anything, so it's really hard to say. But this is definitely the furthest south this has been for the last 4 model runs. Because now we have a thicker ridge out here. That's why this is going where it's going. And you can see northeasterly flow being flying to the north of the system, helping to yank the system further south. That is why, for one thing, this is a very small vortex, and it could feel the deep layer background easterly flow. But I did want to make it clear here. I try to not hype up things or cause fear. At this point in time, I've seen it across different YouTube channels, including on social media, that a tropical storm or hurricane is looking inevitably likely at this point. It's just a matter of where. Where does it go, right? That's the big question in everybody's head, is where is this going to go? We know it's going to be a big deal, right? We know our signals out there that, oh, this is going to be a wave that actually isn't going to be like our last few, like Dexter, Chantel, which, by the way, Chantel became a strong tropical storm. But my point being here is this is a tropical wave that actually is going to wake up the season, and it's actually going to be a productive like system producing a lot of ACE. Depending on where it consolidates, how quick it consolidates, because if the GFS does end up, and we have to put that into our minds, folks, is if the GFS, a big if, right? That's the purpose of models. Based on the initial conditions, and you run that through into a simulation, that's all this really is. It's ones and zeros. It's a simulation ran by a supercomputer that is 1 billion times powerful than anyone else's computer out there. And so you run the simulation and you put in all the mathematical equations, and it decides that, oh, okay, based on this, we're just going to analyze the atmosphere and move it through. And so those slight variants could mean all the difference. I think I lost my brain there. What I was trying to say, so I had to fill in another piece of information. All right, so let's take a look now at our next plot. Let's plot this out again, right? So our system is exactly right about here. Right about there. So let's see if it gained any latitude. I know you guys are probably laughing at me like, dude, you're actually just tracking this down. So this has not gained much latitude, just by a hair, just by a little smidge at this given time. It's mainly pretty much headed due west. This is much further to the south. In fact, if we look and plot down our 18Z run, we can compare that. Actually, the initial conditions here were pretty much the same on that. So let's play polka dot, right? Who likes polka dots, right? That's kind of where we stand at this point. So there's our 18Z model, right? And so we compare different runs. You could actually post this on X. I do not care if you guys post this on X, because you guys are learning a little bit at the same time. This is my analysis. Unlike other YouTubers, they'll just breeze through everything. No, I actually decode these models in real time. This is the fun part of forecasting, I'll tell you. It really is. So there's your 18Z GFS in orange. 12Z model a little bit to the south. We're kind of like right in the middle, and we'll plot that, excuse me, in green. Who likes green? I think everyone likes green. Green on my YouTube channel means my views are above typical, right? So that's what green is all about. So come on, cooperate. There we go. So we connect the dots between everything here. I know green is hard to see here. I know it's It's difficult, but you can kind of get the idea that right now, this is definitely further south. This is definitely further south. All right. We're going to plot again. We're going to make another plot. There we go. We just made another plot. Following this very closely. Okay, it looks like it's gaining latitude a little faster. It's beginning that little bit of a turn, but still brings it very close to these islands. If it goes on that same latitude or that same heading, it still brings it very close to these islands. It really does. And I want to really plot that 18Z run because that was like an out of mind model. Like it did not know what the heck it was doing. It was probably the worst model run known to date. Because I just want to compare the last couple of runs especially. So there's your 18Z run up here. And here is your 0Z run. So we are definitely further south. I'll give it a little bit more forward motion and then we will plot another. How do you guys like this? How do you guys like the analysis here? This is something that I recently been doing to actually called forecasting. It's called forward casting. It's a unique term that I made up based on what you're seeing here. You make a forward cast and think where it's going to actually go. Thank you so much, Weather Boy. So you can do this with Epic Pin, actually. It's completely free. There's no cost whatsoever with this. And you can plot. You can literally like, okay, this is what the 18Z run is showing. So you guys are not as scared. I know there have been some viewers that have been watching my channel like, I'm scared, I'm scared. Please don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. Just because I put a wonky looking thumbnail doesn't mean okay, my lines don't connect the dots very cleanly, but that's the best we're going to do. All right, so let's put this into motion a little bit more. Let's plot another one. Let's do another one. So we got to find the circulation where the exact center is. Now, just because there's no wind right here, there's like a little eye, I'm finding these vectors. So there might be a little bit of a lagmentation here. Right there, exactly. I made sure of that too. Let's plot again. Let's see where we stand. So it has turned a little bit more to the right. A little bit. Oh, I thought I deleted that. Okay, it is trying to meet up with our 12Z model guidance from this morning. 12Z model guidance. So that's going to be interesting. See, 12Z had it kind of bending back to the west. 18Z run, though, let's look at that. Yeah, okay, yeah. It's definitely not going with the 18Z run, for sure. Definitely not. Way further to the south. Way further to the south. Still. So I'm looking at, does it gain latitude faster than previous runs? Even so, it had a further south position. Okay. So let's go over now and go look at our 0Z. Man, GFS is beating me up on this one. Still to the south of that green line. So we're just going to wait and see. Try different model runs. Let's see the icon. Good call on that. Let's look at that. So the icon, so it tries to consolidate it right here. So the broadening low would probably be right here in the middle where that green line is. Let's see the euro though, the 18Z euro. See, the 18Z euro wants to gain latitude a lot faster. So again, that's a realm of possibility. What's up, PM? By the way, how's everybody doing tonight? Okay, let's plot again. Let's plot a scene, right? Okay. I'm not going to mark the other one because this is rendering too fast for me to keep up with. All right, so this looks like, actually, I will do the 12Z. Okay, 12Z is still to the north of our 0Z model run. Still to the north, but man, is it a close call? Is it a close call? Man, that's going to really make a difference. That 12Z run brought it all the way into southern Florida. So it looks like this is going to be another southern rider, it appears. But that gets pretty dang close. I mean, look at the difference. Look at how this is much different. I mean, look at, there was no winds at all on those islands on the 18Z run as that passed to your northeast. Look at this. Now you're looking at near tropical storm force winds. All right, so that's it with the plotting system here. It looks like, hold on. It looks like this is not turning to the right anymore. So it is on a steady heading. That brings it very close, very, very close to these islands of the Antigua and Gia as well. So that really worries me now, because how far west is this actually going to get now? I'm going to make a hypo prediction. I know you guys will probably tell me, don't do that, David. But I believe it's going to go like that. I believe it's going to make a turn. What do you guys think? Let's see here. I'll pick a random person. PM, of course, is very generous. So PM will probably think it's going to go out to sea still. Kent says North Carolina, so we will put you in pink. So we will, you said North Carolina, so something that looks like that. All right. OTG says Louisiana. I'll only plot a few more here. So probably over the Caribbean and like that. Oh yeah, well, over Cuba, I meant. So we will see who wins. I'm the black line. Remember your color, okay? Because chat is going very fast right now. This is the exciting thing. This is literally what I do if I wasn't streaming. I would look at these models. In fact, you all, I have been so addicted to these global models on this system that I have only been sleeping 2 hours out of the night. Yes. 2 hours out of the night. And it's actually made me kind of depressed. It really has made me depressed. Because it's like, I'm tired of watching these models, but they're addicting. They like, with something that is this big, it's like, man, I just can't get my eyes off of it. It's like, I gotta check the last frame. All right, so let's see where it's gonna go. It's very hard to say. It's right in between all of our lines that we drew. But if it does head towards the northwest, this is already, and FYI, by the way, this is Bermuda right in here. Oops, let's draw that up. This is Bermuda over here. Okay. So if it did try to go out to sea, it would literally have to take this red line. Okay. That's what PM thinks. But if this goes a little bit northwest here, even if it turned north, it's going to hit someone. It's not going to turn tight enough to miss the US. So take note of that as well. An out to sea storm here might be too late at this point, in other words. And you know what's scary? Guess what my title says? Guess what my title actually says? Not good. And literally, I draw this cone of the area highlighted and the GFS trend south. Like, does the GFS read my mind? Does it know what I'm doing? I don't even know. But we are watching this in real time. I know a lot of you are probably like freaking out, but let's put on the brakes. Let's not freak out right now. Let's just wait a little bit. What we need to look at is the ridge. What is this ridge looking like? Yes, that's a lot stronger. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot stronger. Never mind. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. Very strong. Much stronger ridge up here. That's a very strong negative PNA right out in here. What did I just tell you guys too? This ridge right here, this arcing tongue of high pressure arcing all the way into Bermuda. This tells us this thing is not turning north. This is going to probably go into the Gulf. I bet you this is going to probably go into the Gulf or get very close to the Florida coast and turn north into the Carolinas. Based on that tongue of the PNA, that ridge. So this ridge is being sampled a lot stronger, and that is a big problem because this is much further south in tandem as this high is a lot stronger. Let's take a look at our 500 millibar height map. Yes, look at this. We got actually northeasterly flow hitting this a little bit. The last model run, we actually had different upper level wind set up here. Let's look at the 18Z run. Yeah, see, we had more easterly flow and southeasterly flow yanking this and pulling this generally in this direction. So in tonight's 0Z model run, we actually have a different flow setup where it's actually more out of the easterly direction. Oh, shoot. I took my lines away. Sorry. I literally hit the trash can. So that really becomes a problem now. There is a little bit of a break here in the ridge. You can see the flow right in here. And usually that points to where the system might head towards. It's the path of least resistance. So if it turns, it's going to do something like that. It's going to be a very close call for Florida, I think. It's either going to go right off the coast of Florida or it's going to turn like that. It's going to be very close. Somewhere in this ballpark is where I think we're going to see the system. Wow, that is very strong. There it goes. Actually, it's gaining latitude a little faster. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it is. So it's gaining latitude a little faster. So it is going to be further off the coast of Florida, it looks like. That's where I think the signal is at this point. I think the eastern Gulf right now is very, very up and down. But wow, that is a very strong hurricane. That's a major hurricane now on, let's see, how many model runs? That's 1, that is 2, that is 3, and that is 4. So 4 model runs of the GFS now signal a hurricane. Again, take this with a grain of salt. This is just inside the 10-day mark, but we're getting into that consistency range where I'm starting to get a little concerned about this. I really am. And hence the headline on the thumbnail when you click on this live stream and you're watching me right now, which is 95% of the reason why you're watching me right now, because you clicked on the thumbnail and the title. This is not good. This is not good because guess what? These are very warm waters over here. Water temperatures, folks, and I'm not lying when I say this, upper 80s, like 89 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit. You need 79.5 degrees or greater to sustain at least a tropical storm or hurricane. We are at least 10 to 12 degrees warmer than that. Okay, let's take a look at our vertical wind shear on this model. Let's see. So there is a little bit of westerly vertical wind shear on this. Little bit, just a touch, just a little touch. But I don't think it is very significant. No, because there's easterly flow here and there's easterly flow here. Actually, there is 3 jets of outflow. We have a jet here, we have a jet over here, and we might have a little bit of a jet in here somewhere. It's very weak. So we have 3 areas of outflow. So this thing is breathing out as much air as it can to strengthen. Let's take a look at our relative humidity, though, because that's going to be important. 500 millibar. Yeah, it's not very asymmetrical. So it looks like this is going right directly. It's going to hit. It's going to be off the Florida coast, but it is going to hit the Carolinas. I shouldn't say is or will. I got to be careful with what I say, but on this model, it's going to miss Florida. It looks like it's going to miss Florida, which is a very populated area, but other areas up to the north are very populated too. So yeah, look at this ridge really breaking down. This ridge like collapses in on itself, which again is still, it's a scenario that we will need to watch. Again, that launching point at the end of the day will make a difference, but that ridge really breaks down, which is unfortunate because that means if this goes up the eastern seaboard, it's going to impact a lot more than just Florida or the Carolinas as well. Take a look now at our latest analysis here. Let's zoom in on Florida now. Let's go to the southeastern sector on this system. Oops, not that. Oh my gosh, where are we? We need our Bahamas. There we go. There's the Bahamas. 121 mile an hour winds. Dude, actually, it's not turning. What? It's not turning. So this is going right very close to Miami, Florida. Never mind. I thought this is actually kind of curving a little bit. So again, we're looking at this in real time. That is a very powerful hurricane. That's a major hurricane on your on the map that you see. You know what? I hate to say this. It reminds me of Dorian, but only Dorian came around like this. It kind of did something like this, and it turned sharply to the north like that. But this is in the general vicinity where Dorian was and where Matthew kind of went on through. So this is a historic area for big-time hurricanes. Very warm sea surface temperatures over here. We have a lot of heat content. We have a lot of heat being stored below the surface. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I am not surprised if we see a major hurricane out of this, especially with what the GFS has been telling us. We'll see what other models show, but that could be on the table right now. A tropical storm, a hurricane, or major hurricane. David, can you check your Discord, please? Sure. Let me check my Discord. David, if you have time later after the stream, I think we should talk and make sure you have all the deep business stuff figured out for the channel. Okay, yeah, I can talk tonight for a little bit after the stream. I will be done easy at around 11ish, about 11 o'clock, because I want to wait for that European deterministic model to come out. Did you let other people know? You got to let, you have to let Nate know. You have to let, Ethan, you could let Ethan know if you want, but please let Nate know. Which, by the way, folks, yeah, we have a lot of planning to do for the stream. I mean, there's been a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on. We had like a 5-hour meeting yesterday about when are we going to stream? How are we going to stream? And everything. All for you guys. So, yeah, if you have not rung that notification bell for more live streams, for more daily tropical weather updates, please subscribe. It really does help out a lot because you get stuff like this. This is what we call analysis on our GFS model. And this is the latest run. You are looking at it. 0Z, August 9th, 2025, 10-meter surface wind. But this is definitely, it is definitely not going where the 12Z had it, though. And this is a fatter storm, too. Much fatter. Okay, it looks like it is now turning a little bit more to the north. And again, at this point, I am not so worried about intensity or exact intensity because you know how hurricane models will merit this. They will certainly be a lot stronger than this because the GFS only has such a strong cap on these systems, and it's usually a category 3 or 4. You never see a category 5 out of a GFS model run. You really don't. And if you do, it's literally like hours before it actually happens. So don't expect a major or a borderline major hurricane out of this now. But once those hurricane models render, we could see some crazy, crazy speeds out of this. I'm telling you, more than just 112 miles an hour. But there's Florida. Let's actually zoom back out so we can focus on the rest. Focus on the Caribbean. So there is Florida, there's the Carolinas, and there is the big red spot. Big red spot literally within 7 days. Or not 7 days, 10 days. Inside the 10-day window. It's already 943 millibars on the GFS. Yee, shoot. Wow, man. Look how slow this is moving too. Look how slow. It is not moving very fast. Literally, one day it's over here and the next day it is over here. That is not very fast at all. That's pretty dang slow in a 24-hour period. So this is a slow mover. This could be a... I'm telling you, it really, really worries me. It really does. If this actually happens. If this actually happens, it's... Oh, it's going to be bad. Again, I don't like causing panic, but I've been doing this long enough. I'll tell you. Oh, and look at that. The Canadian model is on board. So we have the Canadian model on board with this now. All of a sudden, yeah, look at that trend recently in recent forecasts. So now we have the Canadian model on board with this, but it is gaining latitude a little bit faster, but still very close to these islands and in reach of the Carolinas as well. So we have a pretty dang solid signal that this is going to be a problem. I mean, now every model tonight has it. The Icon has it, the Canadian, the GFS. Very sure the European model and the artificial intelligence will have it. Steering back west, Gabriel said. I hope you're joking around with me on that. Is that on the GFS that you saw that, like it's steering back to the west? Doesn't look like it is, though. Is that another ridge? Looks like another high pressure center up there. No, this is going to actually go, it's going to parallel the coast because you got your trough right here. See this on trough at the 500 millibar level? Yeah, there's your trough. So this is actually going to pair up with that. There's a weakness. So this is not headed west. This is actually going to turn out along the coast. That's a 942. And I'll just tell you this, 942, regardless of exact wind speeds, that's in a realm of a category 4 intensity hurricane. Again, GFS only has there's a limit, I believe, on the GFS, how strong. Oh, yeah, there it is. Category 4, 129 mile an hour winds. 129 on the GFS right now. So one model through. Two more to go. Two more to go. Okay, so let's go back and look at our the Canadian model. So the Canadian model still has this moving generally to the northwest with winds of about 60 miles an hour. And again, it's slowly catching on, so I would expect another uptrend in its 12Z counterpart in the morning. Let's take a look now at the Bahamas yet again. Let's see what we have. What is our winds telling us? We're about 130 miles an hour. Sustained winds in the lower levels at actually clean surface wind about 121 knots. That's about 135 miles an hour. Yeah, 145 mile an hour wind gusts. That is very strong. That's actually stronger than here, than when it crossed Bahamas, which tells me wind gusts or surface pressures are probably down into the 930s here. Yeah, we are very close. 940.1 millibars. That's a very deep system right there. Very deep system. Very deep. All right, yeah. See, this is going to go north. So it is far enough offshore, but again, don't make that sound, or I don't want you guys to think that, oh, it's missing Florida again. Good. We're not going to get impacted because again, we could still see trends to the west if that ridge is stronger. All right. So this is actually, there's a ridge up here to the north, this surface high, which I do not understand why the GFS, why the GFS is actually indicating, see, you got high pressure. So this actually might get yanked, make a hard turn like Florence did. So that is something to consider. That is something to really consider. Because if you have high pressure like that, if it misses the trough, Northwest Atlantic. That's what I want. Western. Okay. Let's use the Caribbean. We cannot get, for some reason, actually, let's do the East Coast. There we go. That's the one that I was wanting. Let's take a look at our 500 millibar steering. There's a trough right in here. Funny. Why is there a surface high up there then? Crazy. It's actually going to be quite cold. That cooler air might make some baroclinic interaction, actually. System gets fatter and not skinnier under a baroclinic transitioning system. Man, I am very curious what the Euro is going to show tonight. I'm very curious. And the artificial intelligence. Again, one model does not say it all, right? This does not mean the Euro is going to show this. It doesn't mean the AIFS is going to show it either. Okay. Someone said fish storm. Again, let's not really assume yet it's going to be a fish storm. It could be, but I mean, this is pretty dang close relative to where the storm, you know? I mean, if this goes north, even, I mean, if it's 1 mile off the Cape Hatteras coast, okay, let's just say hypothetically, this makes a turn and it stays offshore mysteriously and it does something like that. It makes a tight turn. It never makes one landfall. It's a fish storm, but look at all of this land mass area. Lots of rain, wind, storm surge, surf, you name it. I mean, just because it's a fish storm being further offshore or a fish storm being closer mean two different things. I'm really in the middle. Half of me says it's going to be a fish storm. Half of me says it's going to get mere miles off the coast of the Carolinas or Florida. It is like a really close call. I'm telling you right now, very close call. If it weren't for that ridge weakening at this given point, I'll tell you. You know what? Looks like this thing is going to try to do a pinwheel, huh? Look at this is going south, maybe a little interaction here. That would literally pull a Florence if it actually did materialize like that. Wow. How's Georgia looking? I will let you know very soon. I would say right now, Georgia, I would not say Georgia's in this clear right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. Yep, there it is. There's your binary interaction. This is going to make a little bit of a hook, just a minor one. It's probably going to slam right here in Cape Hatteras. But again, this is just after the 10-day forecast. Again, it's like football. Like you know, you do a replay of that football play and you say the player did this, they did this. If it weren't for that timing, this is what would happen. It's kind of what I'm doing right here. Based on where it's moving, I think it's going to do something like that and maybe turn out. But I want to, again, make it clear, just because if this is 2 miles offshore and it remains a fish storm, these are going to have, this could have tropical storm force winds along the coast. Okay, we're talking sustained winds of 25 to 40 miles an hour and gusts that are pretty significant, 40 to 50 miles an hour. And look how large of a system that is. So you have to take that into consideration. People think fish storm. It's not going to be that bad if it's a fish storm, you know. But this is beyond 10 days, so we are in fantasy land. We do not know. We do not know where this is going to go at all once it gets to the 10-day mark. There's a lot of complications here. How far offshore? Does it make landfall? Where it makes landfall? How strong will it be? You know, there's a lot of questions I wish I could answer, and I could say it's going to hit Cape Hatteras 100%. But no, we don't know the full drill because every model run here we have proved wrong. It's been very, very fluid. It really has. Look at the 18Z run. Ooh, it's hitting Bermuda with tropical storm force winds. Look at the 12Z model. Oh, it's to the west of Florida. 06Z run back where it is pretty much right now. So long story short, it's not a forecast. It really isn't because this is far out. This is too far out in time. It's guidance. It's a signal. Okay, we have to understand that. I know people are paranoid of this stuff, and it's because no one. People tell me you know your models more than anyone else. I'm like, yeah, because I've done this for a long time, so I know what to look for. I really do. So if you're new to this channel and you don't know what weather models are, I understand you're panicking and stuff, but please don't panic. Okay, This is not until the 20th of August. I will let you know when you need to panic. Okay. Right now, it is not good watching this big hurricane possible, big storm, that sort of thing. Will a hurricane happen? Chances are probably a low end hurricane, more likely than a higher end hurricane until we get closer. That is why the stronger the hurricane you get, the harder it is to predict it, right? So if you think about, that's why the NHC, you'll never see them forecast a category 5 hurricane 4 or 5 days out in time on their cone of uncertainty, right? Because getting a category 5 is very hard. It really is. It's not very easy. And right where I thought it would make landfall, right there in Cape Hatteras in North Carolina, that is very destructive. And remember Florence, remember Sandy, folks. Okay, please understand that Sandy and Florence were very intense hurricanes, and they were not category 4 or 5 hurricanes, but they were very big hurricanes. I mean, look at this monster. Look at the wind field on it. That's a big, big mama right there. Sorry if I made you guys laugh there, but that's pretty dang large. That's a big system. And the pressure, look at how low the pressure is, even on approach here to the Carolinas, right around 940 to 945 millibars. That is a very strong system. In fact, that is a major hurricane. Yes, that is a major hurricane hitting North Carolina, which I highly doubt. I don't believe that whatsoever. But yeah, there's a ceiling to this. There is a ceiling. It's very unrealistic, of course. That's what the model is going to show. And actually, my friend, or not my friend, but a person that I follow on YouTube, Mark Finan, he actually shared someone's post with the 2 hurricanes. Remember how there was 2 hurricanes with the Squidward nose? That would be Florida. Remember that? People were laughing at that. Okay, that was the funniest, most hilarious, most anguish model run to date. It literally was. And so I should have saved an image on it. Maybe I will. I'll grab it still from the archives. But a scenario like that, come on. Just GFS, it's the GFS days. It really is. All right, so now that that's done, let's take a look at our Canadian model to finish and round that up before we get to our European model. So the Canadian wants a strong tropical storm to the northeast of the Bahama Islands. Right here, here's our storm. Again, I'm not so much focused on strength at this time. What I'm more focused in is positioning. So we know on most of our models, where is this going to be? Southwestern Atlantic. Right? That's how you make a forecast. You don't focus on one run, you compare runs, use ensembles, and take that as face value. Because I see a lot of people on X that, oh, it's a major Cat 5 hurricane hitting New York. Okay, it's just one run. Look at the ensemble, please. Then you come and tell me if it's going to hit New York, right? That's just an example. That really is. And that is why you all love me as a forecaster, right? You guys like coming back, watching me, because I decode these things. I decode models. No one does this. No one does this, I don't believe, right? But I do with my live streams. That's why in my videos, I will go over at least 3 to 5 different global computer models. But of course, when the thing actually forms, we narrow that down to hurricane models like the HAVS A, the HAVS B, the HMON, the HWARF, those are hurricane models. I'll be on in just a second. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. 630 people here watching me tonight. So I want to say a huge blessed thank you all for being here, supporting me. I mean, I am almost speechless at this point of how many subscribers we actually have right now. We are at 49,199 subscribers. We are literally 800 100 subs away from 50,000. 50,000, the halfway point to getting that YouTube reward. So, yeah, if you guys haven't been here before and you do love my production, you love my videos, you love how I explain things in my tropical weather analysis / discussions, including live streamings content here on the channel. This is the second night in a row that I've been doing this. Maybe I will have to do another live stream tomorrow night since a lot of you really do like this. So maybe surprise you guys tomorrow. But I will have to end it earlier tomorrow night if I do end up going live because I have church the next day. So, yeah. And I will definitely promise you guys, I have a lot planned for live streaming coverage on the tropics, on hurricanes when they make landfall. Yeah. In fact, that's why Easy and my friend Nate over here have actually messaged me like we're going to need to talk again tonight to get stuff ready. Because it is going to be one heck of a haul. Probably about a couple of days on the a couple of days on the channel, live streaming constantly, just nonstop. All right. Hey, David, got here late. So going back to the front, thank you for what you do. Thank you so much, Sky 5599. I appreciate that. Let's see what else. Do you guys have any questions? Because we are going to need to look at our European model. Actually, the artificial intelligence model came out. Actually, it's going to come out soon. We're going to have to use tropical tidbits because it is slightly delayed here on. It's slightly delayed on the Weather Bell website. So I'm going to be interested in seeing what this actually shows tonight. What's up, James? Yeah, that's how I pronounce it, James. Yeah, AIFS, because AIFS. You could say AIFS, but I say AIFS, so it's not tongue twisting to me. It's just easier to pronounce like that, AIFS. No zeros yet? No. The artificial comes out first before the actual deterministic forecast, which we'll view on Weather Bell, because on Tropical Tidbits on the free version, you will get it a lot later, unless you use the fast, which I don't like. I like using the actual detailed version. That's why I have Weather Bell. I have weathermodels.com because those are paid subscription type models. But here it comes. We are going to get it very soon. Hot out of the press. Yeah, it won't be very long before we do. So, to be specific about this, there it is. There is what is left with our hypothetical hurricane over here off the northeast coast. Hypothetical because it's 318 hours out. This is for the 22nd of August, but wow, look at that wind max right there. That is 50, that's 57 knots. That's about 50 to 60 mile an hour sustained winds. That's a big time system. Does not look like, yeah, it looks like it's going to undergo baroclinic transition. Nice, good warm core there in the low levels at 925 millibars. Nice, good warm core with a little bit of cold pooling, which would actually get a steam jet going, which steam jet is actually a lot stronger than what the model will actually show. But yeah, that is definitely a system. Yeah, this is like a nor'easter, isn't it? Yeah, it is like a nor'easter. What's up, Nate? How are you doing? And exactly, there it is. It's like a nor'easter here on the map. Hey, you there? Okay, I think he's trying to connect. Well, when he's ready, he'll let me know. there we go. I think. You there, Nate?
Yep, I'm here. How's it going, David?
Hey, dude, man, this is getting bad. The Canadian, the Icon, the GFS are now showing development. And worst of all, if I got this down correctly, I do not want to be the bearer of bad news, but we have a second contender down here in the Caribbean. Hypothetical, but let's not forget it is the active period where we watch these waves come off of Africa. So that is another system right down here that is not going north and instead is going to be going this way through the Caribbean. So again, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, we may not be done. This is only one model run. I'm not putting any grain of salt into this, but we really got to watch right out here, though. All of this confluence, all this upward motion in the atmosphere, we may not be done. We shall see. Man, what a busy 0Z model this is. What a busy 0Z forecast. Oh, no, I thought wrong. Nah, no, this is actually going northwest towards the Dominican Republic. So what is up? This whole area is going to get dismantled eventually by all these systems coming through. Caribbean Queen by Mini. Gulf of America hurricane. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Okay, Fantasyland. Fantasyland, all right. Fantasy. I am more worried about the one off of Africa than the one in the Caribbean because that's not even on my doorstep to worry about right now. You guys could go and worry about it, and probably people will be posting stuff on X about, oh, look, we got a sneaky system popping up on the GFS. All right, it's one model run. Take one model run with a grain of salt. With a grain of salt. Because at the end of the day, we have a very active MJO. Very active. And in fact, if we go over here to the velocity potential anomaly, yes, that's where you do not want the MJO to be in. Right smack dab in the Indian Ocean. That is trouble for the Atlantic. That is definitely trouble. And actually, you know what? That Caribbean storm might become reality because of how favorable this environment could actually end up. It is the 22nd of August here. So my point being here is there is a distinct period where the first heartbeat of the hurricane season comes alive, and it's usually the 20th of August. Not saying that the Caribbean system should be taken seriously, but at the end of the day, an active period is in the making over here. Early, busy season for the hurricane. So, yeah. So that goes out of, that goes along the coast. It does make landfall if it does, GFS right here. So technically, we cannot say this run is a fish storm with that big contender. That's going to be a major hurricane potentially. And then we got this other little annoyance, another compact system. Geez, that's an 81-mile-an-hour hurricane. Again, I do not believe this right now, but a favorable background state. We cannot forget it's going to be with us for a while. It really is. And we have to be ready for this. We really do. And my team over here, Nate and Easy, are ready. We are actually ready to go. Well, we have to get stuff together first, but yeah, once we go live, we will be going live all night. It will be nonstop live coverage on a landfalling tropical storm or hurricane. And I'm being serious, okay? I am being serious, huh, Nate?
Yeah, David, you are being serious when it comes to that. We had a long discussion about this, and we want to provide everybody with the most recent and most accurate possible weather information we can during those live streams.
Exactly. So even so, there's nothing out here in the Atlantic after this little guy passes or whatnot. Please take this with a grain of salt. Please, 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 because background environment signals are still there. Signals are still there. I don't want to hype. I don't want to gripe, but I'm a weather enthusiast. Some people call me a meteorologist. Thank you anyhow, but I'm not a meteorologist. I'm a weather enthusiast. I'm like a level 3 out over here. But yeah, see, you got more waves lined up out here in Africa. Not that they're going to develop. Not every wave develops. But again, signal, instability, lift in the atmosphere, no dry air, not as much stability problems. That's kind of the point here. All right, so AIFS, come on, AIFS, are you gonna render for us? Let's see, 0Z, is it in? No, darn it, it's not in yet. It is not in. It should be in very soon though, because we're almost done with our GFS model run. But watch people post. I would bet you $50 billion that someone's gonna post about this down here. That we got 2 systems to watch now. Like that system right now is over Eastern Africa. I mean, that tropical wave that produces that is like in just developing in far Eastern Africa in Ethiopia. But yeah, if you guys are new to the channel and you have not been here before, all right, if you like the content, you like the production with my team over here, that's going to make these live streams possible when it comes to a landfalling storm. And yes, my friend Nate, what are you planning on doing when it comes to hurricane chasing? Besides chasing this on the ground, what are you also planning to do?
Well, my main goal this season is to try to get into the eye of a hurricane and possibly get some drone photography inside the eye of the hurricane. It's going to be difficult to pull off, but I want to try to get the shot done so all of you guys can see it as well.
Yeah. How cool is that? We don't have to rely on stationary cameras necessarily. We could actually rely on, we have a chaser out there that will actually give us real-time weather data, drone footage if needed, if he captures the eye of a hurricane. It's going to be stressful. It is going to be very stressful. A lot of pressure will be put on us, but we are going to do this together. Teamwork makes a dream actually work. Might want to keep an eye on chat, Nate. Too many people laughing out loud. Yeah, well, we're probably going to start enabling a slow mode. Once we see consistent high numbers, this is great. I'm glad you guys are in here chatting. I love hearing the words that you guys have to say. Unlike other YouTubers out there, they'll put their slow mode on for like 30 seconds. Well, I'm not planning to do that at all. I want you guys to, have unlimited amounts of typing and stuff without having to wait like 30 seconds or something. No, I'm not going to do slow mode. Don't worry. No, it's not going to happen. It only is going to happen if we get a really high rate of chat messages a minute. Like the rate goes up, then we'll be like, okay, Nate, we're going to actually have to enable that, but we are not planning to do that here. I wanted to make it as relaxing, as free as it can be in the chat, just as long as we keep it weather related, civil and respectful. That's all that I ask. Nate, by the way, is a very good moderator, so no one mess with him. No one mess with that guy because he will be more than happy to do damage control. But I love you guys a lot. I'm glad you all are here watching this live. We are waiting though. Our AIFS, come on. Get in, start rendering. We are waiting. We're here waiting for you to render. Along to go with the European model. You're taking too long. We're just staring at the good old GFS with a hurricane. Well, not a hurricane, a fantasy storm in the Northern Caribbean. Maybe if you guys keep on saying AIFS, maybe you can like literally yell it to hurry up and come in. I'm literally pressing the button so many times. Like, I'm hitting 18Z and no 0Z is popping up right now. Come on. I'm very impatient at this point. I'm very impatient. I need my food. I need my model food so bad. Yeah, good job, you guys. Keep calling the AIFS out. Tell it to get in. Let them spam for a bit on that, all right, Nate? Because maybe their voices will be heard and the AIFS will actually come in. Oh, let's look at some AI models, right? So this is the level of uncertainty that we are dealing with out there with who's going to get hit. And as you can see, there is a big cone of uncertainty in here on, does this go west, or does this go to this direction, or does it go right over here? Which, by the way, I have to give Weatherman Plus a bit of a shout out here as far as how he pronounces things. I love it. I really do. He'll say in this direction. He's a good, I'll be open and honest. He's a pretty good YouTuber. His commentary's great. I just love it. It actually makes me want to watch him every day at the same time. He's the plus of Weatherman. I hope Weatherman Plus is here watching this. He'll be like, oh, thank you, David. He's probably asleep because I think he's in Eastern or Central time zone. Thank you so much. Glad you love this channel. All right, we can actually stop spamming the AIFS now. I think the AIFS is being yelled at too much. Let me ask you guys this question. What is your favorite global computer model to track? What is your favorite model to use? I like the European. I think the European, it kind of goes in middle hand because the wind part of it is more conservative, but like the track consistency is really good. But when it comes to the wind and intensity side of things, the GFS somewhat wins that out. HAVS A. Wow, the HAVS A actually. Oh, so hurricane models included over here. The Euro, the HAVS A. GFS is king. Wow, someone actually supports a GFS over here. The Euro, NAM 3 kilometer, the HMON. Nice. I'm not there on the artificial intelligence technology yet. You know what? Let me update Tropical Tidbits. Maybe I just need to reset everything. Oh, seriously? You're taking a while over here. AI model? Once a system is formed, I really like the H-Wharf. Yeah, the H-Wharf, you know, the fact that it did so well, the HAVS A and the HAVS B did really well with Milton. not in a bad way, or not in a good way, but in a bad way, because it actually predicted a category 6 hurricane. I know 6 is not official out there, but like it predicted 200-mile-an-hour winds, and we probably kind of scratched at that for a second, for a little bit, when it got down to like 897 millibars, and we all thought over here that there's no way it's getting that deep. Remember those days when we were watching that AIFS, or the hurricane models? I was live streaming. I'm like, you all were like, golly, or this is going to be bad. I don't think it's going to happen, but it actually did, unfortunately. So the halves A and B are pretty good hurricane models, actually. They are quite accurate. And actually, eventually, that's going to replace your H-Warp and probably the HMON model eventually. Oh, yeah. Nate, promote the merchandise. We have some merchandise for you guys.
Well, hey everybody, me and David actually just recently designed more merchandise for the David Schlotthauer channel. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, we have a mouse pad, we have stickers. All of that has just been redesigned and revamped. All affordable pricing. Come check out the merchandise store. It's the link in his store, or if the store tab of YouTube. And come support the channel.
There it is. I might purchase a shirt when I get the money, and I get the money over here. Someone's shopping for it. Get our first sale. I think by Tuesday it's going to be an invest. Tuesday. Yeah. What is this going to look like on Tuesday, actually? Let's go back to the Central Atlantic. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if it's an invest. For sure, that wave coming off of Africa right now. I would not be surprised. Definitely going to have to get that fast. Oh, yeah. Get some merch. Or else I will sell you. Easy peasy. No, I'm just kidding. You know I'm kidding with you. But yeah, look at this right here. Look at that. That's pretty butter clean right there. Strong easterly jet here. Nice, good confluence zone. Backing into Africa. Yeah, I don't think we're done after this system. Well, whatever fantasy system. GFS may look, it's nice and quiet out there after this, but things change on a dime. I'll tell you, things will change on a dime. Let's see. Our AIFS model is just taking its own sweet time. Yeah, see, it's actually rendering first on Weatherbell. All right, we got it on Weatherbell now. 0Z is coming in. 0Z. Man, see, it looks like it's not going to form, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like that, folks? It doesn't look like it's going to do anything. Like, it's like, oh, nice and smooth looking trough out here. This is pretty sharp, by the way, but like, there's just like, doesn't look like much confluence, but there is a lot of confluence. That's why take the artificial intelligence model with a grain of salt with winds, because it is not a high res model at all. I think it's like a 32-kilometer model, but it renders very fast, and that's what's very important. There it is. There it is. Yep. There's the system. So is it stronger? No, it's about the same. It's a little further north. It's a little further north. New GFS ensembles have trended south. Wow. Okay. Okay. Let's actually look at that on Weather Nerds. Since it is in, yeah, we're out to 5 days. Let's see, did it trend further south? Yes, it did. Just a little bit. Just a little further south. Yep. They went south. So that deterministic model was quite solid. Man, there's a big cluster of ensembles. That is sad because guess what? That is like squared for northeastern Caribbean. Most of these will turn north though. I guarantee. That's what has been the constant lately is that all of these, but like if they're going further south, that might bring northeastern Caribbean into play with the ensemble forecast. You can see it right there. But I'll tell you, I'm not waiting for the European ensemble. It's going to be a long time before that comes in. That's like 12:30 in the morning my time, and I will be asleep. I say I'm going to be asleep, but it doesn't mean I will be asleep. Because I need to talk to Easy, apparently, and I'm going to need to talk to Nate here after the stream, sounds like. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. Valid. What run is this? Oh. All right, he's got the AIFS model. Man, he's got it fast. He's got that puppy fast. I will give you a preview. Looks like the AIFS moves it into this area just like the GFS shows, which tells me that the European model is probably going to be in that general direction. I do not know why, though, it is so dang behind on tropical tidbits, or maybe I'm ahead of myself. But this is rendering very fast. Like we're already out to 7 days. So this is going to be done in about 4 or 5 minutes. So before we look at the euro, because the euro is going to start rendering here. Actually, the euro might be rendering right now. Let's see. Yep, the euro is rendering. The euro. Say grand finale, everybody. The grand finale model. Let's see where it's at. Yep, euro wants it stronger. Euro wants it. Dang, it likes that northern end of spin to focus. It really likes that area. The grand finale. This is going to matter a whole lot right here. A whole lot. Because if that is in the same spot, then we have a potential zone to pay close attention to. Okay, yeah, the AI model's a little further to the east on this one, but really similar to our GFS model. Like, actually, yeah, GFS did a really good job on this one. So, yeah. So we'll just watch this because this is going to be done really soon. I'm anxious. Probably it's not going to be a hurricane on the AIFS. I'll tell you right now. This is a very high resolution or a very low resolution model. Please don't think it's not going to be a hurricane because it is going to probably be end up being a hurricane. It's just not going to show that because it's, again, it's a very poor resolution model. So we'll just have to watch this. Up there we go. More frames. Look at. We got a problem. We got a problem. Second wave. Third wave. Fourth wave. Is this gonna be one of those? Yep, this is gonna be a nasty run. Actually, this is merging up slowly with this other wave, but there is additional waves behind this that form. African wave train, I'm telling you, it's not done. And that is why we can't assume. And again, not every tropical wave will develop into a tropical storm or hurricane, but it gives us a heads up that hurricane season is here. We gotta watch the tropics. We gotta watch. So, can the track change? Yeah. The track's going to continue to change and wobble back and forth. Yeah. Up there it is. I knew it was not going to become I got close there. 72-mile-per-hour winds. So very close to a hurricane. Actually, this is stronger. The artificial intelligence actually nudged up a little bit on its intensity. Yeah, this is the strongest model run, actually. Peaking the intensity up to 72 miles an hour now. And it is squarely for the Carolinas. So this is not a fish storm run at all. Now, again, just because, it's not hitting Florida, the GFS has been showing that, it's not going to hit Florida. That does not mean that it's not going to hit Florida. This could wobble back and forth. It may trend west. It may trend east. But right now, this area has been the candidate for a near strike. It's been that whole zone that I've circled in black. What's up, Johnny? Welcome to Tropical Storm tier on a membership. Thank you for becoming a member. Brings us up to almost like 80 members now. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right, man, this is an exciting night in a terrible way. We have another strong tropical wave right here that follows behind this one. That's two models now that show this. Look at the GFS. Let's go back to the GFS really quickly. Your tropical wave is down here, but look at this on the artificial intelligence model over up here. And then maybe another strong tropical wave. Man, they're just lined up out there. This is a crazy run tonight. Crazy run. That actually fails to develop though, so yeah. Doesn't mean it's not going to appear again, you know. UNHC cone. Oh gosh, I'm nervous. What does it say? 30%. Wow, they upped the chances on that. That's about to be code orange, probably in the next update or in the next few. This has been downtrending, so I'm not worried about 96L anymore. In fact, can I get a blue that matches that? I could be like, I'm going to cross it all out. I'm going to exit out. It's a system that I am not concerned anymore. All we're focused in on is this biggie boy over here. That's going to be upgraded significantly. I would not be surprised if this goes up to like 40 or 50% tomorrow afternoon or evening because of that confidence. This is really it. This is like, wow. Things are going to get ripe with this. And look at the arrow too. Look at, I mean, it hasn't gained latitude at all, like what the models have been showing. So if this is actually moving a little bit further south, then this could This could still hypothetically be a Caribbean threat. But I don't want to get ahead of myself and say it will or it won't. Okay, euro, euro, euro. Artificial intelligence. Let's finish that one out really quickly. All right, yep, that's done. One more model to look over as it comes in. Should be done by about 11 o'clock tonight. Let's see what this one is showing. Bet you it's further north because that's what the euro wants to do, right? That's what the euro wants to do. Oh, no, it's in the same spot. It's in the same spot. It is further south. Yeah, see, the spin vorticity maximum was up here. So it's a little further south, just by a nudge, just by like a little nudge, by about maybe 20 miles. And it's actually moving this way. Wow, crazy euro. What are you doing over here? Yeah, look at this. This is not even, but I might assume something. No, that is actually aimed like that. Am I seeing that right? Maybe it is. It looks like it's going just south of due west. Weird, really weird. But if this gets further west, then it's going to be a big problem. That would be all models tonight. Every single model in that general area, as clear of confidence you can get. Well, I shouldn't say clear confidence, but as confident as you can get with the forecast with just one set of models. That's why I'm really patient on this. Okay, this is still moving west right now. Your center is right about there. That's where your center is exactly. It's just a tad north, But the wind energy is a little further south. Let me look at the vorticity. No, it's further north. Further north. But I wonder if it's right where the GFS had it, though. That's important. Yep, exactly spot on with the GFS. Yeah, GFS had it right there. Right there. Euro has it exactly this right there. So the GFS is onto something. But then it's going to turn north. Watch this. It's going to turn north. Could be an outlier. It could be an outlier. I can tell. Well, the strongest wind is evenly distributed somewhat. It's going to be the thing is that wind max. So the key takeaway of this so far is the Carolinas, the southwestern Atlantic needs to be watching this. All right. Needs to be watching this. Will it make landfall? As simple as I could say yes or no, I don't know. I don't know. You could even ask a meteorologist, will it make landfall in North Carolina? They'll tell you the exact same thing. I don't know. It really depends on its journey across the MDR. It really will depend. But the European model is further north, dude. It's further south, though, on this one than the 18Z. That was an outlier. We'll see if that actually comes to pass. Excuse me. A little stuffed up here today. This will be done by 11 o'clock, though, this rendering model. This renders very fast. It's a fast model run. Why is it going northwest like that, though? Literally, the ridge. I don't understand. It's gaining latitude faster, but hold on. Weird. That's why this trough is in the way. That is in the way right there. That might be weakening this ridge a little bit. That's why this is a little further north. That ridge is pretty intact, though, at 500 millibars. Let's take a look at our 500 millibar winds. A nice, good background flow here. So the system shouldn't... It's definitely going to gain latitude, but not very quickly. No, that's how it ends up being right there. Doesn't end up gaining too much latitude. So we have winds on this at 40 miles an hour in under 7 days. So a tropical storm, actually, before it crosses that benchmark of 60 west, seems a very big possibility. So this could get named in about 7 days, and it would be Aaron would be our next name storm on the list of names. So we are just going to have to wait. There is the candidate of interest right there. There's your system. Definitely a closed circulation. Very closed. Though it's like a watermelon of strong winds on one half of the side. But we are going to wait for more additional runs to come in. Looks like it just took a jog to the west. Crazy. Crazy. It took a jog to the west briefly. Oh, maybe not. Never mind. It's stronger by 2 millibars. It is stronger by 2 millibars. Yep. So the trend has been a strengthening system, strengthening a little faster through the MDR. So we are going to need to see, though, where that turn happens. Where it happens, because if it happens here, then it stays offshore. Or if it happens here, it's going to be right where the models have it, like the GFS. We're at beyond day 7. What the heck is that turning? It's already turning north. Wow, that is really, really an outlier in all of the models today or tonight. Oh, wait, no, maybe not. Gosh. Man, it is very hard to tell if that's turning north or not. I don't think it is yet. It is notably further to the north, though. Just a little bit, but not as far north as the 18Z, which you can't even see here because it only ran out to 144 hours out. Why am I streaming a model that is 7 days out? Because there is high enough confidence, and I can. Actually, can you clear up that confusion if you can, if people don't understand why I'm looking at models this far out? Nate? Thank you.
Would you like me to speak on that, or would you like me to just respond to people in chat?
Just speak upon that.
Speak upon that? Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much just looking at models this far out. We are not looking for intensity or where this is going to make landfall. We're just looking for trends. If something is popping up, we're looking at where it's located at what hour, and we can then therefore make conclusions based off of all of the other models. We're not looking at intensity, we're not looking at where it's going to make landfall, we're just looking for trends. We're just looking for development trends. That's all we're looking for, nothing else.
I know I kind of broke my promise that I won't look at something beyond 7 days out, but then I asked the chat one night, like, people wanted to mainly have me do 10 days, but other people out there on YouTube, I'm not going to say who, but the weather community on YouTube, they are looking at models beyond 10 days out sometimes. So it's like, and I'm going to be honest, I don't like to cause fear mongering. I'm not here to like cause panic or anything. Nate knows me all too well. That's why he actually wants to help me out here on the channel, because he actually loves my channel to the point. And but when I see something that's going to be consistent amongst more than one model, more than 5 or 6 models, then I start investigating it and I start looking more into this, like, wow, this is actually going to be a big deal. Because once a system really gets going, then you could kind of vaguely look a little further out in time, because then models see that, oh, it's right here. Like, look at my finger or look at my hand. It's right here. So we can track it. We can see it. We can track it more accurately. Versus if it's a big convective mass, we don't know where the center is going to form. Then hypothetically, models are going to act a little finicky. They're going to act terrible. Because I want to be accurate. I'm trying to be as accurate and honest as I can, you know? I mean, look at other YouTubers. They're doing the exact same thing like me. Like, literally. I'm not alone in all of this. Even news stations are already raising the alarm bell that, oh, we are going to possibly have a major hurricane or a hurricane out there. You know? It's all about the trends. Trend is your friend. Right? Right? Okay, so let's look at the GEFS ensemble. Look at that. Okay. Is this further south? Oh, yeah. A little bit on the GEFS. By the way, your PNA is right here. That's going to be very negative. Yeah, right here. PNA forecast. Very negative out there in the United States. Cool down is on the way for California, which means that's going to cause problems for the downstream pattern that makes this hurricane quite dangerous. Okay, so this is not far from the GFS by much. It's very doable on the Euro. So I'm going to watch this. This has 90-mile-an-hour winds. So there's only 2 models. Well, the AIFS shows a hurricane. It's not a high-resolution model. It's really only one model tonight that doesn't show a hurricane, and that's the Canadian model. Second model showing Carolinas. That's definitely a possibility. Oh, looks like this is going to swing and just miss the coast of the United States, but that is too close to call. Very close to call. Any wobbles, that's going to be the thing. It's just, you know, and the Euro is showing a fish storm. Don't take that to heart. Please do not say, oh, it's a fish storm. Good. It's not going to impact me, because that's just one model run. One model run in it. We actually saw this last night where it was further east, but then you know what happened on the 12Z run. It was way over here near the Carolinas in a little over 300 hours out. So this could still change from here all the way to here. Big changes, big shifts. Okay. But yeah. But the pressure stays the same. We're down to about 941, 943 millibars, or 940 at the lowest. So this would be a very powerful category 2, 3, or 4 hurricane. Even so, it doesn't make landfall on this particular model. I mean, that has an eye. Look at the eye on that. So you got to look at that eye and be like, oh, it's more than just 100 miles an hour. Like, that's what this model is indicating, that winds are 116. They actually peak at 124 miles an hour. Yeah, they peak at 124 at the max. So that's almost a category 4. And then here's the issue. Man, this is actually going to be a problem potentially. Look at this. It's not just the GFS picking that up now. The Euro is picking up another tropical wave that looks like it might do something. It might try consolidating. I'm not saying it will, but that is another system that has strong winds on it that gets close to these islands. It's like, and there's the GFS. So that second wave, that needs to be watched, actually. We'll see how models trend, but very far out. We may not be done with just this one. We'll see. We'll just keep an eye on it. Yeah, so that's 96. That's about a category 2 hurricane. Let's go up the East Coast right now. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, look how powerful that thing is. That is really close. So there has been this thing where the GFS and Euro want that pretty dang close to the Northeast coast. So that is really going to need to be watched. That is a powerful storm right there. And that is still a sub 950 millibar system. Oh, and actually it does hit Cape Cod very far out, very far out. So East Coast threat really is something on the docket still, unfortunately. Exactly how strong this will be, we don't know, but definitely a tropical storm. That is a very solid guarantee. A very solid guarantee that this is going to end up being at least a tropical storm with winds more than 40 miles an hour. All right, so I think, do you guys have any questions at all? Any questions? I did want to let you all know, if you have not subscribed to the channel, if you like these videos, live streams, we will more than likely end up, we'll see, still too far out, but if this makes landfall anywhere, me, Nate, Ethan B, Easy, 4 of us will be in the studio live streaming for like 24 to maybe 48 hours, up to 2 days. Right, Nate?
That is correct, David. Up to 2 days for major, breaking news kind of systems, and 1 day usually for all other kinds of systems.
Pretty much. So, yeah, if you haven't been here before and you absolutely like these detailed live discussions, video content that I upload daily, I will have another video out tomorrow. Believe it or not, I will have another video out again at about 3 o'clock. So if you have not subscribed, now is the time to slap, break, and dismantle that subscribe button. And also smash that like button as well. Any model showing Gulf entry? No, there's no risk for a Gulf entry on this model cycle suite at all. No Gulf entry. So you can actually sleep peacefully tonight knowing that, oh, there's no Gulf storm. Thank goodness. This does move into the Northeast, though, on this particular European model. That is still a powerful system. That's a 971 millibar. That's like an Isaias situation, only that it's not as far south. Yeah, no Gulf. No Gulf system on this 0Z model suite. But do not take that for granted, please. All right, because any shifts to the west of Florida brings this into the Gulf. But chances are you're in the clear right now. I'm not very concerned about the Gulf with this one. But definitely the southwestern Atlantic and the mid-Atlantic, southwestern Atlantic, the mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast. Really need to be watching. And then, of course, maybe another one behind that, but I'm not worried about that one. It is too far out, but there is, on the 0Z, if you just base it off one suite of models, the GFS and Euro may be onto something with another system out there developing in the Atlantic. Way out in time. But yeah, was there any sign that this could shift west due to the steering? There is a good possibility, a great deal of possibility that this does shift westward. How far west, I don't know, but the furthest west I see this going is in the eastern Gulf of America, in the Big Bend of Florida, that kind of deal. So yeah. So we are going to need to watch this, though. We really do. All right. Any questions you guys have? What's your thoughts about Louisiana getting hit by a hurricane this year? Johnny, I can't make that call because predicting a hurricane landfall this year is very hard because it's a singular storm that's very intense, and we can't even figure out where this storm that's coming off of Africa right now is going to head. So I can't say for a fact if you will or won't get hit this year. You have to just be prepared. You have to be ready just in case, okay? What about New York City? So New York City has a chance of getting a close call with this, but it's very far out. August 22nd essentially is what we're looking at here. You just base it off of one model run. The previous run was a little slower on the system and was thinking that New York may be getting hit like on the 23rd of August. That has since been sped up a little bit. 0Z run. Let's look at the 0Z run really quickly from last night, not tonight's run. And see, this was even slower, probably the 24th of August. So it's been getting a little faster a little bit. Oh my gosh, Nate, you're funny. Can you look at southern United States map on GFS? Southern United States. All right. Southern United States. Let's go to southern. Where are we? There we go. See. South Central. Darn it. All right, let's just look at the Gulf of Mexico because that will cover the South for you. So if you're referring about this system, okay, let's not worry about that. That's 384 hours out. But there is no risk right now for the Gulf, okay? There's no risk at all. In fact, you're not even getting any wins at all in the Gulf. Just residual stuff. On tropical tidbits. Oh, on tropical tidbits, sure. So what did you want me to check on tropical tidbits for the southern United States? And then I'm going to have to head off because I am getting tired. I'm going to try to sleep tonight. I am going to try to sleep. But I love you guys. You guys are like family to me, and can't wait for the next live stream, whenever that will be. Maybe tomorrow night. I may surprise you guys. Low cloud fraction. Okay, low cloud fraction. So what am I looking for? Just clouds, I guess, huh? Oops. There we go. Forget to switch my scenes sometimes. It can possibly hit South Carolina, but my... All right. Okay. I think that's going to do it. Thank you guys for coming down tonight, watching this live stream. I do appreciate it. This thing was 2.5 hours. We might do another one tomorrow night. It really just depends on model trends and stuff. If it's needed, we will. Want to save some energy for maybe late next week ahead of this monstrous system that looks to be panning out on the models. But you could only get the latest updates if you do subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't been here before and you have not decided that I really like this channel, I really do, subscribe if you haven't, and turn all notifications to the on position so you get all of my tropical weather updates, if that's a video form, shorts form, or if that's even in a live stream format. All right, as always, I love you guys. Please be safe, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow afternoon with another tropical weather update video edition with maybe, not a guarantee, a live stream, okay? Because I have to be up very early Sunday morning at like 7 o'clock for church. So love you guys. Peace out, and catch you guys tomorrow.